Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Keeping It Real Estate with me, Sara Delansig. And today's topic is really good. This is actually one I am very excited about because I see it all too often. And a lot of agents actually got into being an agent because of this, which the topic today is how to control shiny object syndrome. And as a small business owner and realtor myself, I go to a lot of events, and I see agents, you know, following new trends and trying things out, and spending a lot of money doing it. So I thought this was really important topic. So we're going to dive into that, but first we're going to talk about some ways to creatively get the buyer's agency agreement signed, because that's the reality that we are all living in right now. And I saw the coolest post by someone in a real estate mastermind group. And this person doesn't even know I screenshotted this or saved it or whatever, but I'm going to give them credit and I'm going to share it with you because I thought this was the coolest way. And like, it just shows that you can think outside the box. A lot of people think that nobody wants to sign a buyer's agency agreement, or I can't ask them to do that, or, in this city, it's not like that. This is a military town, so nobody signs anything, right? I've heard lots of different things over the years, but fact of the matter is that it's the way it is now. So I have had one person who didn't want to pay a buyer's agent and didn't want to work with an agent at all. So I assumed that guy was going to be that way anyway. But in the last, 11 days since all this went down, but we were actually doing it like a week before, and had one guy, and the guy wasn't really somebody I wanted to work with anyway. So I don't really feel like I'm out of luck. So with that being said, I'm going to share this. If you are here live, you're going to see this. If you are not, and you are listening to this on KGCI or something else or a podcast, then you won't see it. But just imagine a realtor that is kneeling on one knee. Okay, so I'm just going to read the post. It says, with all the doom and gloom everyone keeps spewing about the new changes, here is some sunshine to it. When buyer reps became mandatory, I wanted to find a cute but memorable moment for my new clients. So I decided to propose to all of my clients after our strategy sessions. They get the full experience, all the way down to a ring pop that I place on their hand when they accept being my client. During our session, I tell them the buyer rep is our marriage agreement. I let them know we can get divorced if they want, but they just have to let me know they want a divorce. It has been a game changer, and everyone loves it and thinks it's hilarious. You have two choices: sit in your pity and complain about new rules and new changes, or you can make the best out of it and do something different. So that's Dakota Lee Chapman. We don't know each other, but thank you for sharing that. I think that is one of the coolest things that I've seen in all of the drama that is out there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of miseducation, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of paranoia. And, the bar is not very high to be a realtor, right? Which is one of the reasons why a lot of realtors have what I call shiny object syndrome, or what is known as shiny object syndrome, and they can never seem to get over the hump. So first, before we get into all of that and how to control shiny object syndrome, what it is, what it looks like, my experience with it, what you can do to fix it, right? Let's try to take a deep breath, and let's have a positive belief in this buyer's agency thing being a positive change, because it's the reality that we're in. I don't know that it's going to go away, so we're going to have to make the most of it, and we're not going to make excuses. We're going to find creative ways to think outside the box. So imagine, when you meet with a buyer, don't imagine that they're going to be like, oh my God, what is that? I don't know how to explain it. Right? Just tell them this is the way it is. No big deal. You want out, you can get out. And this is, and explain it to them. But I would also, if you can come up with something like Dakota did, I think that's a really cool idea. I'm not saying everybody should do that. Obviously, that's probably not going to work for everyone. But it's an example of ways to think outside the box and ways to, be positive. So take a deep breath, inhale, and just envision it being an easy process. Envision your buyers understanding, envision them hearing you out and knowing that this is not something that they can go to another agent and get away from. So that's kind of what I want to do. I just want you to like soak up some positivity. Think of the positive. Let's focus on that. Okay. One other thing that I really want to bring up, and I will try to remember at the end, and if we have time, I might have a call to share, but I don't know that we'll have time today because I have a pretty packed agenda. I have a side note that also, okay, so two things. Side note, please remove your client's email addresses from the offer when you're submitting an offer. This is illegal, period, but still, like, come on, like agents, let's not be shady, okay? But just to help all of you, please remove your clients' emails from the offer when you submit an offer. I heard something, and I just want to throw that out there. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is on September 10th, I will be speaking at the Commit or Quit virtual event put on by Wendy Goss. There are some incredible speakers. I think there are 24 of us. I can't remember if that's exact number. I'm talking like everyone from Brent Gove to Phil Stringer, Wendy Goss, Linnea Carver, like all the people that I think are relevant and that you should hear what they have to say. Okay, so you can sign up for that event, which is free and virtual. So no excuses here unless you're busy that day. At commitorquitevent.com, and that way you can come see me. I think we all have like 15 minutes, only from 8 to 2 p.m. Pacific, but it's packed, and I'm going to share, all my good stuff. So, okay, now let's get into this lovely topic, how to control shiny object syndrome. So, most of my ideas for this came from the top two that I listened to, which are Alex and Layla Hermosi. It was mainly Layla this time. But I went back today and listened to some of Alex's stuff, which is very similar. And he teaches it kind of a different way than she does. So it's always good to kind of get both perspectives. And so after I listened to Layla's like 15-minute how to overcome shiny object syndrome, or how entrepreneurs overcome shiny object syndrome or something like that. I listened to it a couple times, and then it played another one after it while I was listening to it, and it was pretty good. So some of this also comes from, I think it was the CEO Entrepreneur's site, his YouTube channel. So if you want to, if I don't do this justice, or if you just want more, about this, go ahead and look those up, because that's pretty much where I got all this from. Okie dokie. So where are we going to start? Let's start with a quote that I really liked, that Alex Hermosi brought up. And that is, success comes down to doing the obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time without thinking you're smarter than you are. So what does that mean, right? Like, a lot of times, and we will totally like break this down because there's levels to this. And I have heard this all over the place. I've heard it from Krista Mayshore, is probably where I heard it first. I believe she probably heard it from someone else, but I don't know where it originally comes from. But the first level is uninformed optimism. So when you think you want to be a real estate agent, right? You're in this state. You're like, oh, being a real estate agent, wow, oh my gosh, you can pick your own schedule. It's not that expensive, right? Like the world is your oyster. You could do whatever you want as a realtor, and you can make $30,000 in one closing. Oh my goodness, that's so easy. That's a whole year's salary for some people, right? In one closing. So that is what uninformed optimism looks like. It's literally like everything is great. Oh my gosh, this is going to work so well. It's going to be like the most beautiful thing. It's going to be so easy. Nothing's going to go wrong. It's just all I got to do is get my license. And then once you get your license, right, then we are at, I think it's uninformed pessimism. Hold on, I got to open my thing again. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Uninformed optimism is first, and then informed pessimism. No, yeah, informed pessimism. At this point, now you're like, oh man, it was really expensive to get my license. I know it didn't take very long, but actually, I didn't know I had to pay for NAR dues because I have to pay for NAR dues to be a part of the brokerage I want to be a part of. And then there's those fees that I have to pay for. Oh, and wait a minute, I have to have e-key fees too? Are you telling me, wait, I have to be a part of the MLS? Now I've got all these expenses and I don't even make a salary? Wait a minute. I don't even make any money yet? Oh, wait, how does anyone do this? This is insane, right? Like, okay, I understand. I could make $30,000 if I just sell like one really expensive home, but how much is it going to cost me to get there, right? And that is informed pessimism. This is the point that you're like, okay, this isn't all rainbows and roses and puppy dogs, right? Now we're looking at the reality of it and we're going, oh, crap, I got to pay NAR dues that are ahead of time. I got to pay MLS dues. I got to pay all this stuff. Plus I have to pay for my license. Plus I have to pay to renew my license and fingerprinting. I'm like, okay, this is not as easy as it sounded. I thought it was just going to be a nice little fee. You know, you just get your license in a few weeks and then bada bing, bada boom. You're showing pretty houses to everybody that wants to see a pretty house. And then you're like, okay, I'm licensed. Hey world, I'm licensed. Come find me. And they're like, we don't care. You're a brand new agent. Why would I even learn something for it? Like, no, thank you. I don't want to work with you. So then you have to overcome that hurdle. Okay, I just got my license. I remember I was so excited to get my license. And then people would like, oh, she's just a newbie agent. If I would post it in groups and stuff and be like, hey, you know, like I'm really excited and da 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 da. And they'd be like, oh, don't listen to her. She's a brand new agent. She just got her license. And they would hate on me. And I realized really quickly that real estate is not for everyone. It is a cutthroat, competitive business, which is why I do this podcast, actually, because I'm trying to bring a little sunshine here. I'm trying to share a little value without expecting everybody to follow me or join me or do this or do that or pay me for this or that or become coach or buy my this or buy my that, right? So obviously, most people have things to sell at some point. So there is that. But so that is what informed pessimism looks like. And by this point, most people enter the valley of despair. Now their thoughts are very pessimistic, right? Now they're like, they start to have the shiny object syndrome because they start to think, okay, well, now it's really hard and it's so expensive and I don't know how I'm going to make it. And none of my friends or family want to work with me. I have some thoughts on that, but I'm going to keep it to myself. And I know we've all had that. And I think it makes us grow as agents because when your own family doesn't use you, how much that hurts. Very, very triggering. Okay, very triggering. But that's the point, like where you think, should I give up? Should I keep going? I don't know what to do. I'm at this point and it's like so expensive and all this money is going out and all you see is the money going out. And you're like, how can I get through this? Where's the business going to come from? Where's that one closing that could make everything going to come from? So this valley of despair is where agents start to look at other agents and compare. And they go, oh, well, that person is doing that, so I should do that. And then they go take the last of their savings. I've seen this. I see this time and time again. I know this is why I try to talk people out of even hiring me in cases where I'm like, they tell me that they're going to put it on a credit card or they're going to go into debt just to hire me. I'm like, no, I'll just teach you. Just come hang out with me. I will teach you how to do what I do so you can do it yourself, you know, if you have the time, that kind of thing. But anyway, so especially at events and things like that, there's so much out there that agents are bombarded with. Let's put it that way. We're bombarded with phone calls about how to get a coach, right? I used to do this. I used to sell real estate coaching. In some ways, I will say this. I was convicted in the real estate coaching because I saw it work for people as long as they put the work in and things like that. So I will say this though, make sure that your coach sells real estate. Like, make sure that your coach is actively in the game, knowing what's going on right now. Because otherwise you might have somebody that, yeah, it worked for them 20 years ago, but what about now? Do they understand what's happening with this market? Do they understand what we're facing with the buyer's agency agreement, the NAR settlement? I mean, they may say they do, but I'm saying, do they have their own clients? Do they have to prospect themselves? Do they understand what it was like or what it's like now? So just ask those questions which someday I am going to do a whole one of these on like how to select a real estate coach. But it's really tricky because there are some coaches out there that don't sell real estate anymore, but are very actively involved. So it's a little bit of a nuance. I can think of one right now, but they're still actively involved. I'm not going to mention names, but there are still some really good ones out there. So just make sure that whatever, I guess it brings me to my next point, which is like whatever's making the boats go faster, which is another thing I heard from Krista Mayshore, which she got from a book, but I can't remember the name of it, or a movie. Okay, so the guy that I was listening to about this also said some stuff like that. So let's see if I can get back to where we are. Okay, so the Valley of Despair. Most people will get shiny object syndrome at this point or give up completely. This is why, I don't know, what is it? Like, I want to say it's like 87% of agents quit within the first 5 years. And I would say it's probably closer to in the first 2 years, because right around the time that you have to renew your license, that is a pretty big chore for some people. So I remember, and by the way, if you're going to renew your license, don't wait till the last minute. I accidentally did that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It takes a little longer than you think. So give yourself a good couple months. Oh, side note, but anyways. Okay, so the next section is informed optimism. Okay. So if you've made it through the Valley of Despair, now you realize, okay, I know what it takes. I know what it takes. It's not all easy. It's not all roses, but there is successful, or I can see the success, right? I can see that there is a way forward. There is a way to do this. You may need to get a side job. You may need to do something like this. Is in my own life. I was in the Valley of Despair. After I was so optimistic about getting my license. I thought I'll be great at this. It'll be like so easy. Everybody, I already know all these people that buy real estate. They'll use me. They didn't. And that's not what happened. And then I literally was like, okay, what am I good at that I can leverage? And that's where my business was born, because I saw agents saying, I don't know how to make a phone call. I don't know how to follow up. When do I call them? How do I call them? What do I say? How many times do I call them? And I saw other people who haven't done that in a very long time charging a whole lot of money to give them some kind of course that worked a long time ago. And I bought that course and I was like, no, this is not going to work. Right. So, I mean, I bought it later on, but I took a lot of classes and I was like, this is really what they're being taught. This is like the best of the best. Sorry, I'm not trying to throw any shade here, but I was shocked. I was like, wow, I cannot believe that like brokerages and like big name agents are like promoting these tactics that are ick, that I feel really uncomfortable with. And that was an issue for me. So that's why I took my tax return when I had no money. I was literally, it was like everything I had. And I put it into getting a business license instead of real estate, because I couldn't do that. And I said, I'll make your calls. Pay me, $1 per call or whatever it is. Let's see how it goes. And I spent probably 2 days just trying to figure out how to set it up. So I don't think I made any money. But the person that I did this for was very happy. And then she was like, you guys should use Sara. And then the business was born and other people, and then it spread. So I guess what I'm saying is like at that or the Valley of Despair, you can decide, maybe I need to get a side job. Maybe I need to put my talents to use. I saw Debbie in here. I saw Debbie is a transaction coordinator. I'm not trying to call you on the spot, but you said something and I saw you put it in the chat. You said literally 1 minute in the call and you're speaking directly to me, which I didn't even know you were going to be here. But I know that Debbie did this. Debbie, I think you became a transaction coordinator when you hit that Valley. So I think she's in here, but maybe.
Yes, I did. I was doing it so that I could supplement between selling houses and what it actually, and I just thought, oh, I'm really good at the paperwork, so I'll just do the paperwork for other agents. But what it ended up doing was giving me so much more exposure to more things happening in the industry, that it got me to be this super knowledgeable agent, because I worked on 200 files one year.
My gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah. So can you imagine having the experience of 200 transactions in a year? And maybe I sold 3 houses, but I was involved heavily in 200 transactions. So that has grown me as an agent, because I've learned about scenarios that I would have never learned on my own.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing, because I think that is a success story. And I think that's exactly what a lot of agents need to understand, because you got to step outside your comfort zone. You got to figure out, what are you good at? What is it that you can bring to the table that other agents can't? What is it, or that you know more about? And so that's what I'm talking about. That's how you get through it, because you can supplement that. And then maybe you find, maybe I like this better. Well, that's what happened with me. I was like, I don't really think I like selling real estate. I don't really like showing houses, and I didn't really like open houses or going out on it in the evenings and sitting in traffic and like, oh, I hate this house, and go to the next one or anything like that. It wasn't for me. So I was like, hey, I would rather connect the buyers and the sellers with the agents that I like. And that is good for me. And I can be happy, and I can make the money that I need to keep my license, because I do want to keep my license. I have a lot of motivation for that. Even if I don't sell, I'm a referral agent, so I can make money that way. So yeah, so that's kind of what it is. So thank you. Okay, so we went through that. Okay, so informed optimism, that's when you know you got the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you keep moving forward. And then number 5 is you realize the goal. So you achieve what it is you wanted in the first place. You know, you whatever reason you got into real estate for, or maybe the goal shifted while you're doing it, like it did for me. And now the goal is to just have a nice work-life balance, and having a successful, business that you work with the people you want to work with. And that's my situation anyway. But yeah, you've built a team, maybe you take the time off you want to take, you could go on vacations. But the reality of a new agent, and even an agent that might be resistant to change, because, back in the day, it was this way, right? Like, you have to go outside of your comfort zone. You have to try new things. A lot of agents didn't want to do video. A lot of agents didn't want to do cold calls. I don't personally like cold calling at all. Don't condone it. But, there are people out there that do it, and it works for them. It doesn't work for everybody. Okay. So, another thing that I learned. So let's talk about how to actually combat, right? How to control this. So number 1 is that you need to be strategic, right? Will this make the boats go faster? Be strategic about what you will put your time and energy into, which really brings you to number 2, which is stay focused. So whatever you got to do to stay focused on one thing. You cannot have split focus on a whole bunch of things. You can't have a whole bunch of pots. Have you ever tried to cook something like, have you ever gotten like a HelloFresh? I'm sorry, HelloFresh is very difficult. They try to make it seem like, oh, it's so easy. No, it isn't. Okay. It's like, you got to have this going while that's going. It's very much timing, and like, that's not very easy. And so when you're, toasting something while you're also boiling potatoes, while you're also chopping parsley, you might burn the toast, right? If you're not paying attention. So that's why you have to like focus on the things that are making your business money. Be strategic and analyze those things. Use the information, the data, and don't always look at somebody, like, the grass is not always greener. Alex said this today. It was like, the grass is not always greener on the other side. It just has more shit. And that's why it's fertilized. It's greener. But, there's still shit on both sides. So there you have it. Okay, so another thing I was going to say on those notes is the key to an agent's success or failure is how consistent and systematic their operation is. Now, if any of you come to Linnea's Friday Power Tips, you might look at her and you might go, oh my God. Like, oh my gosh, she has it so dialed in. Like, she knows what she's doing. Like, how can I ever get there? Where did she start? I'm never gonna, right? So comparing yourself to everyone else is not always, it's not a good thing unless it pushes you to do better. But you don't want to compare yourself in a way where you feel like crap about yourself. And you're like, oh God, well, that's if you're watching something and it's making you feel worse about yourself and not lifting you up, then maybe you shouldn't keep watching it. Maybe you should dial back and, be strategic and stay focused on the things that you can control, that you can do, like what Debbie did, where she knew she was good at paperwork and she put her time and energy into building that TC business. So now she can even be a better agent because now she knows I can use this and I can negotiate better. I can explain things better, like all of those things. So really cool stuff. Okay. Number 3, slow down. Slow down, right? Sometimes we have to slow down in order to grow. I don't know. I don't feel guilty of this because I like to grow very slow. I have a fear of growth. I have a fear of the constraints of growth. This is very honest. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but it's true. I go back and forth on whether I want to like build this business into something big like I originally envisioned, or if it should just be me and my husband and my assistant and one other ISA or whatever. Because it's really hard. It's really hard, but I have a fear of it. So I don't know. I go pretty slow, and I think sometimes you got to go slow. Sometimes you got to go fast. So I don't know that I can speak to this very well, but basically what it says is we have to measure and optimize what we're doing to make sure it's consistent. And oh wow, this time flew by. Goodness gracious. Okay, number 4, less is more. Don't take on too much. You will get overwhelmed and you'll drop the ball. That's what I was talking about with the like HelloFresh and like cooking. Sorry, I'm calling out HelloFresh because that's one I used, but I'm sure most of those prep, meal prep kits that you have to, lots of dishes, lots of work. Okay, so just try to focus on the things that you can control. Focus on the things that you know will make you money and how you can utilize them. And I would also say, like, depending on how much, you can afford or whatever, like, don't look at somebody else and go, I'm going to put all my money into what they're doing. Unless you know that you have the same skill set and have all the facts. Make sure you have all the facts. Okay, number 5 is, I like this one. Schedule time to play with new products. Because as agents, like literally probably the reason so many agents have shiny object syndrome is because that's how we became an agent. We were like, oh, look at that, right? I talked about this in the beginning. So it's not always a bad thing to explore new products. It's not always a bad thing to, see what's working out there, right? So we should definitely schedule time, not a ton of time, but like time to, if we want to know what fellow is, right? This is one that's going around. For example, right now, a year or 2 ago, it was agent launch. I could tell you all of them. I've seen them. So if you think that that's going to make your boats go faster, schedule time in your schedule to explore what that looks like. Ask the hard questions. Don't just listen to the sales guy. Talk to the people that have been using it for a while. Okay. And then see if that's going to be a good choice for you too. Okay. And the last one I have here is get help. Well, I will say this too. The way that Layla and Alex teach things is to tell you how you're definitely going to continue shiny object syndrome. And so basically they were like, if you want, shiny object syndrome to continue, then you're going to surround yourself with people who are going to tell you what you want to hear and are going to be afraid to speak up and, they're going to go along with your ideas, right? You're also going to put your focus on so many things that, trying to put your hands in all the pots. And they said some other things about like, there was something, can't remember what it was now. Maybe I wrote it down. Oh yeah, so surround yourself with people who will be honest with you and tell you when it's not worth the time or money. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah. And then you can also hire like people who don't have the same kind of mindset as you, right? Like a VA, an admin, somebody that is more, I don't know, thinking more like I can't think of the word, systematically. That's the word, systematically. Somebody that's like really looking at the numbers, crunching the numbers, the finance, your CFO, your database manager, like talk to those people. Don't talk to the people that are just going to be like, that's not going to work anymore. Because once you implement a new thing, the old thing kind of goes out the window. And now, and your whole team will be like, nah, right? So yeah, that's what I have. Suma, did you have a question or something? I think we're good. Yeah.
I like it. I'm like you only. I'm scared for growth. I will be doing everything in a comfortable way,
Yeah.
But I see so many people like, I know Krista also. So many videos they are doing all those things. I'm still not comfortable. I tried little bit and for some reason, for me it didn't work. I thought, okay, do whatever the old person, it worked out best.
Well, that's important because you need to do what works for you because, yeah, we're all different. Our personalities are all different. Not every real estate agent, is a high D and a high RI.
Correct.
Yeah, so do what works for you and whatever is working, stick with it.
Correct. Now I'm just schedule. I'm learning videos and all. I wanted to be talkative like you. I don't know if you have any tips, give it to me. Like, I want to, do live on Instagram, Facebook, like 10 minutes and all. I'm not good in that. I'm good in teleprompter, like YouTube videos. I'm comfortable,
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. What's your first language?
Language is different, Hindi, Kannada. Yeah.
Okay. So I only bring that up because, there is a massive need for people who speak Hindi to help people who speak Hindi with going through a transaction process. So maybe do your videos in Hindi.
Oh, okay.
Right? And like target that community. Maybe join Facebook groups about, that are people that speak Hindi or in that community. I think that might, I don't know, but whatever's working for you, I would stick with it. I don't know because I'm not in the same, but I would say, I think that you have an advantage of connecting with a specific community that most people, a lot of people can't because, yeah.
So maybe that gives confidence, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. What do you do? Are you in the real estate or you are in the ISA?
Yeah. So I own an ISA company and that is my primary focus is, making phone calls for other agents. But we do use video in our follow-up techniques, and that's kind of like my whole thing. So I'm licensed, and I think that makes a difference.
Okay.
Well, I know it makes a difference in what I do. But so I keep my license because it's important for me to have a license, especially if I want to take Zillow calls for some of my team, for my clients and things like that. But yeah.
This video, what video you do?
So with videos, it depends on your market. So I would say a video is going to work for you 24/7, 365 days a year. So you want it to be something that's kind of evergreen about your community. And so I don't know what market you're in. What market are you in?
California.
Okay. California is a little difficult. What part of California?
Bay Area, San Francisco.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's better. Because like SoCal, not easy. Not easy. Okay, San Francisco, that's good. So you could be like, what's it like to live in San Francisco? Or what are the best restaurants in San Francisco? Or, best schools, best neighborhoods, just what tips for first-time home buyers in San Francisco. So you want to move to San Francisco. What are the good, the bad, and ugly of living in San Francisco, right? Like people are going to Google. This is like, I know that other people teach this, that you can like find out what people Google and where they're migrating from and to. And a lot of people are, coming from Seattle to San Francisco. And then like, you might be like, what are the best, areas for moving?
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that. But still, I'm not spending money on ad and all, which I might have to do that, I'm just waiting on organic.
Well, the best advice I can give you is what this whole topic is about, is that whatever you choose, pick one thing, focus on it, be consistent, and follow through, And then, like, as long as it makes the boats go faster on that one thing, then do it.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Well, that's our time for today, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll see you guys next time.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.